Okay, homeschooler, I told you if you were over at my Balanced Life channel that I was going to tell you how to use this weekly meal planner as a part of your lessons. If you just stumbled upon this video, let me share quickly the background of this. So I shared on around January 1st of 2025 a short about grocery shopping, and within a few hours, hundreds of people had already clicked on it to watch it. So I created a larger video, one a little bit longer, to go into more detail about how to do this. If you would like to have this download, it's a free download, the weekly meal planner. You can find it on thebalancedlife.com by going to the January 1st, 2025 blog post. You'll see that there's a link. But let me tell you, homeschoolers, how I do this. I have another YouTube video over on the Balanced Life from about, I think I posted it up in 2022, 2023, about how I did this with my kids. And it was a two-prong approach. Not only did we have this, but we also created this sheet. You can't really see it, but it's just a basic Excel sheet. And we had the ideal, we had it pre-typed in the Excel sheet, the ideal quantity of each item, how much we had on hand, so then how much we needed. What I would do is I would assign one of my kids each week before we went grocery shopping to go and see how much we had of these key staples. And then they would put how many we needed, and we would evaluate budgets. We would go through those kind of things. So as part of our homeschooling, I had my kids help me with the grocery shopping, and I would say, this is the grocery budget for this week. You know, we spent this much so far, because we would do a big monthly grocery shop. And then weekly, we would add to it as we needed, you know, fresh fruits and vegetables, things that we needed, things that went on sale. We found we did not save the most amount of money by doing a huge shopping trip once a month. However, we found if we bought our staples once a month and our non-perishables, like canned goods, I mean, it's kind of perishable, but canned goods and boxed goods, things that we would have on hand during the course of the month, we would buy the bulk of those at a certain time of the month, but then throughout the rest of the month, we'd watch for sales. And so to stay on budget, we would write at the top how much money we had remaining either for that week or for the whole month, or sometimes both. And then we'd say, okay, this is what we need to get. And then we would add anything else. We would create our weekly meal planner based on sales that we found for the meats and proteins for the week. And we would get in the car and get ready to go. And here was the fun thing for us. We did a race. We did this at Aldi. And I had like 3 or 4 daughters at this point at home. And we would stop at Aldi. And from the time we opened the car door till the time we got in the car, we tried to make it 25 minutes. And how I did it is I went through the shopping list and I would assign each daughter a task. And so let's just say kids, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I would say to the first one, okay, we need 8 cans of green beans and 2 cans of tomatoes. Get them, tell me the price, come back. So they'd come back, we'd write down the price. We'd keep track of how much we had spent as we went through because we were trying to stay on budget. They told me how much each thing was, you know, go get me 2 dozen eggs, go get me a jug of milk, go get, you know, 3 kinds of cheese, whatever it was. And as each daughter came back, I would tell them the next thing to get, and I would just move through the shopping list. Meanwhile, I was getting certain things as I went up and down the aisles. And when we got to the last items where there was like, you know, one thing for each kid, I would start heading to the checkout and would send them back. We would make sure we were on budget. If we weren't, then we would evaluate, do we have to put something back, or do we have room in the full monthly budget to leave this here? Do we need to have it? That kind of thing. We made those decisions super duper quick because we were standing in line. If there were things we had to put back, I gave it to the child, put it back where it belongs. Don't just set it somewhere. So what did we learn during that? My kids learned how much things cost. My kids learned about staying in a budget. My kids learned about creating a list, grocery shopping. My kids learned about the value of time. We're trying to get in and out fast. My kids learned about responsibility. You don't just toss frozen foods in the bread aisle. You put the item back if you decide that you're not going to get it. And then they learned how to pack things up. You know, cold thing goes with cold. You don't put meat next to your apples. You know, those kind of things. Load things up into the car and let's get going. We made it a game. So it was fun. It was engaging. It was quick. I did not grade the girls individually, but if we did meet our goal, we had some kind of fun thing we did. It typically didn't cost anything, although every once in a while I'd buy like a little treat. It was more just a matter of, can we do this? Doing it for the sake of doing something well. And so there were a ton of different life skills that we learned in the course of doing this. During this time, we were not homeschooling, so we didn't have like a graded score in there. However, when I started doing this without the race component, racing, we were still homeschooling. And so everything except for trying to get it done within 25 minutes, we still did. And that was part of their home economic participation grade, the life budgeting, the skills. And so I would also have them plan one of the meals each month. What's it going to cost? Is that within our budget? Do we have all the materials? Do we have things on hand? So I did not charge them for things that I had already on the shelf because we had that. But if there was something we had to buy, we would say, okay, this is our food budget for the week. These are the things we absolutely have to buy, soap, toilet paper, whatever was there. This is the flexible spending area. So will your meal fit within that? Yes or no? So they learned a lot of skills, and it was more like a pass-fail, if you will, as a participation. But when my oldest daughter did her enrichment year, where she had the home ec component that was actually graded, this was graded like A, B, C, D, F, how close she came within things. And it was on a rubric. If you've seen any of my materials, if you've read my homeschool decision book, you know I'm a huge fan of the rubric. We have rubrics on everything because it gave her feedback. It didn't just assign value to her task, but it told her what she did or did not accomplish. So as part of your homeschooling, if you want to do this grocery store home economic activity, I strongly urge you to do it using a rubric. And if you have questions on that, you can put it in the comments below. It is something that I cover in my book in great detail. If there's enough interest, maybe I'll pull something out from the book and talk about it. But if you would like to see it, I have a couple of sections on rubric creation tools, sample rubrics, and how to use rubrics to teach, not just assess, at the Homeschool Decision. You can get that at decisiontreelearning.com or my bookstore, learningresources.online, if that's something you want to find out more about right now. But using the rubric system for assessing the grocery shopping activity was the best way because they could learn from their mistakes. And over time, as they improved in all the different parameters that we were assessing, they were learning how to be adults. And they are still using that. They do, I don't know if they still use their grocery list, but they did learn how to do grocery shopping, how to do budgeting, how to do meal planning, and all of those things. And a lot of that had to do with their participation here. They also are more engaged citizens because they know what things cost before. They know what they cost now. They understand inflation. And as kind of a side note, they ran their own chicken business, which I've talked about in other videos, both on this channel and on the Balanced Life channel. They had a chicken business, so they understood the cost that went into raising chickens for eggs. So when they see bird flus in the news, they know give it about 6 to 12 months and egg prices are going to shoot up. And we've seen that. That's the increased cost of the eggs. Has been so many things in the last 4 or 5 years has been happening to the poultry industry in a number of different areas. And that, so they know where food comes from. They know the factors that influence the cost of food. They know when gas prices go up, that the cost to transport food goes up, that the cost to get the food to feed the thing that's going to become food, whether cows or chickens or pigs, goes up. And they understand that means in the next year or so, this is going to cost more. So it's better that I buy groceries now because that's my best investment. These groceries that will hold and keep, canned meats, canned vegetables, things like that to have on hand. All right. So if you have questions about that, comments, I'd love to hear them down below. Please like and subscribe so more homeschoolers can see this, or more parents who are trying to do a great job teaching their kids to be strong adults. And I look forward to seeing you on a future video. Please subscribe and absolutely go over to thebalancedlife.com and decisiontreelearning.com and sign up for my newsletter so you can get more free materials on topics such as these as I release them. That's the only way you can be certain to get them. I'll see you next time.